Neckbeard tries to brag about his sexual prowess by deleted. Okay, so here's another one of my stories. There are 3 characters involved, so I'll lay them out here. Minnie, my tiny 4 feet 11 inches friend, super nerdy with pink hair and dresses like someone who just left an event that was punk concert and PAX East. A little too polite/nice for her own good. Slim, this is me. Tall, 6'3", and slim. Brought up in a well-off home/town, so my style of dress reflects that. Confident, polite, and blunt. C, the neckbeard of the hour. Weirdly obsessed with sex, takes photos of himself modeling. Is the exact opposite of a model. I'm in class one day and packing up to head out. My phone, which was in front of me, on my desk, lights up with a notification. I check it, and it's a text from Minnie. It simply reads, "I'm at the campus center, please help me." Class ends a few minutes later and I make the 100 feet or so walk to the campus center, and that when I see him, C and his victim Minnie cowering in revulsion. Minnie was sitting on a bench and C had one leg up on the bench while his remaining leg was on the ground. But his outfit is what really got my attention. He was wearing black hiking boot, army camo cargo shorts, a Spirit Wolf t-shirt that was one size too small, and a red/black cloak/wizard's robe. He also had a cane. His hair was shoulder length and greasy, combed all the way back, even though his face shape was not suited for that look. I walk up and introduce myself. He's several inches shorter than me. I put my hand out to greet him, like a filthy Chad would do. He looks at it, and scoffs. "Who are you?" Clearly a lowly pleb such myself isn't worthy of basking in his stench. Minnie speaks up, "Oh, this is Slim. Slim, this is C." Slim, "Oh, how long have you know each other?" Minnie, "We just met." C, "She'll be my lover soon enough." So, Slim, how long do you last in bed? I am fucking floored. I just stare at him for a few moments, completely void of any thought, because of the insanity bomb he's just detonated in the middle of a short meet and greet. Minnie, Slim, that's none of your business. C, "Oh, okay. Well, I last about 12 hours. Spoken like a true virgin." Slim, "Whatever you say." So Minnie, "Ready to go?" We didn't have to anywhere, I just wanted to GTFO up there. Minnie, "Yeah, I just need to finish packing my stuff." Then, this motherfucker asks this. Quite possibly one of the most awkward, creepy, and weird questions to ask someone. C, "So, Minnie, if you had to choose, who would you rather fuck, me or Slim?" He asks this with the most lurid shit-eating smirk on his fat, fucking face. Then he gives me the side eye like he's some crossbreed between 007 and Casanova. Minnie looks up and goes, "Honestly, Slim. He isn't some fucking weirdo who smells like a used condom. Plus he's in shape, and I know he respects me. Bye." Minnie got up and we left. Unfortunately, this would not be our only encounter with C. More to come.
Pokebeard asks 14-year-old for fetish art by DungeonsandDoodles. This is gonna be my first post on here, so I apologize if it's not entertaining or written well. Anywho, on with the shit show. Characters: me, 14, weeaboo high school girl who was desperate for attention. A couple good friends but otherwise kind of a loner. Pokebeard, 18, neckbeard in question, well-groomed but slightly chubby. Obsessed with Pokemon and anime. Not too many friends, but almost all of the ones he did have are girls. R, 14, very attractive girl, taller than Pokebeard, it's important, trust me, loves nerdy things and likes to cosplay. But really sassy. Looks like me if I was tall and had a nicer figure. So, this is a doozy from freshman year. I made a lot of really dumb moves, so I'm sorry in advance for that. It all started when I started high school. I had joined the anime club because I was a chronic weeboo and wanted a weeb circle of my own. I had eventually made 2 really good friends, but I had also developed a crush. Enter Pokebeard. We both really liked Pokemon, so we got on kinda fast. I didn't really worry about the fact that he was 18 and I was only 14, I've always liked older guys anyway. But he had a crush on another girl we're calling R. She was also a member of the club and she was really outgoing. But she was one of the type of people who you either loved or hated. And because I was 14 and really liked Pokebeard, I hated her. It wasn't really justified though because she wasn't a bad person. But at some point in the year, I guess she got fed up with Pokebeard trying to win her over, so she snapped at him. He ended up crying, and I felt really bad. I decided to doodle him a picture of me hugging him and telling him I hoped he felt better soon. I know, super cringy, but 14-year-old me thought it was a good idea. Anyway, we ended up swapping numbers. He told me that he liked my art and he wanted me to draw him stuff. This was before I decided to only do drawings for people as a gift or a commission, so I went along with it. It was innocent at first. He just wanted me to draw him and I with our favorite Pokemon, but he weirdly requested that I draw myself in a small skirt and tight shirt. Think of May from Pokemon, but without the shorts under the skirt. I drew it and sent it to him, and he said he liked it, but thought my boobs should be drawn bigger. I was a little confused and uncomfortable because A, I was 14 and not very developed. And B, he basically wanted me to look like R. I made some kind of comment or joke about me not being very busty, and he started giving me tips on how to stretch or exercise so my chest would grow. He even told me to drink more milk for it. I felt insecure now because I felt like my body wasn't up to standard or something. Regardless, he asked me out by kissing me at the anime club during Ponyo and then asking me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. I know it was very stupid, and I highly regret it. Eventually, he told me he wanted me to draw a progression picture. I would start off petite and shorter than him, but at the end I'd be very tall and busty. He also wanted me to draw myself pressing my boobs against his face. I asked him why, then he admitted to me that he had a giantess kink. If you don't know what that is, it's basically porn of giant women that range from just super tall to Godzilla height. He sent me random porn of it, and said he wanted me to use them as references in my drawing. I was very uncomfortable, but he was my first boyfriend, and I didn't have the confidence to turn him down. I ended up drawing the things he wanted, him giving me critiques the entire time. Now, that's not the worst of it. This is all just fluff for the drama that would come later. If you want to read the horror show that was our first date, let me know in the comments.
Neckbeard not okay with interracial couples by deleted. When I went to college, I joined into a student social group that planned events to go out and hang out with each other pretty often because I knew no one that was going to the college I picked and figured this would be a nice way to make friends. One of the guys that also went to the groups, I'll call him Racist Beard, seemed to be pretty cool to me at first. He was in my major and we had a lot of common interests. Although he was definitely on the larger side and would go days without a shower, which was made worse by how hot the climate is at the college. I was dating my wife who was my high school sweetheart through all of this and she graduated a year after I did. This is a fact that never came up when I was hanging out with Racist Beard because we are dudes. When she finally was able to get some time off to come visit me and see the school, I immediately texted all the guys and girls I'd been hanging out with to see if they wanted to go dancing and to meet her. Racist Beard thought himself to be a good dancer and only dropped a few of the girls that were brave enough to try dancing with him, so he was pumped to go. My wife's family are all very white and either redheads or blonde. My dad is Irish and my mother is Indian and I look much more Indian than Irish. So we meet up at the dance hall and she gets to meet most of my friends including Racist Beard. We dance for a while. Racist Beard dances with my girlfriend a few times during the night. It seemed like it was going to be basically a normal night until we leave the dance hall. Racist Beard needs a ride back to his dorm, so I offer to take him back. He gets into the back. After we left, he asks my girlfriend, "I have got to know how your family is okay with you being in an interracial relationship." My first reaction was to think he was making a joke about it, until he began spouting off why he doesn't understand how ethnic men get all the girls, especially the fair-skinned blonde ones. I probably should have stopped and told him he could walk the rest of the way, but I am sad to say I didn't. I just called him an asshole and to shut up for the rest of the drive. Haven't talked to the dude since then, thank God. DL, Dr. Neckbeard friend exclaims to my GF in front of me how he doesn't understand why non-white men get all the white girls.
Lady only needs to be cured. AKA. Creepy WeeaBeard tries to Animu woo a lesbian. By deleted. Hello. It's me, everybody's favorite shit lady, feminist of all the lesbians, Soy Milk. How you doing? If you know me and my stories, you'll know that I attract a lot of the wrong people and this story is like no other. So, if you want, be me, Soy Milk, 16 at the time, skinny redhead, likes comic books and scenes, worships old horror movies, and the gayest of all. Legends have been told of how gay I am. I'm so fucking gay. Maybe B, chill at the till, cashier bro, chill, doesn't ask too many questions, and tells people about cool shit. You could be, Loki, 16 at the time, girlfriend at the time, 55, curvy, the biggest nerd imaginable, goth with a hint of chill. Pansexual. She once threw toast at me when I asked if she liked pans. Please don't be, WeeaBeard, I'd how old this guy was, comic book fan, respect, really bad BO, no boundaries. So before we get into the story, Terry's one thing y'all need to know. I love to dress in a cute manner. Rabbit knee-high stockings? Check. Pink and gray miniskirt? Check. Oversized cardigans? Check. I really love simplistic and cutesy fashion and nerdy things, as well as that I'm pretty much a hamster because I stash food away and am tiny. I think you can guess why this is important, but, moving on. Where I live is this amazing comic shop with a huge array of original, Marvel, DC, and indie comics, as well as graphic novels and merchandise. I love it there, and so did Loki. Me and her go there all the time, even now when we're broken up. She was really into Marvel, and I, forgive me, really liked shoujo manga. So we would often browse those sections alone. One time when I was browsing through the manga, I came across a series of books called Hyokoi, and I could really relate to the lead heroine. Therefore I took the book to the Marvel section to look for Loki for gross romantic reasons. Leave me alone. Frown. After getting there, I noticed it was packed with people. There was a sale going on and you could get comics for one. Which was a fucking steal, so using my amazing skill of being tiny I tried to wind my way through the people to find Loki. And that's when he noticed me. His heart made doki. What waifu is this? Yep. From across the room, WeeaBeard notices me in my pastel garb trying to find my goth, useless, girlfriend, and he decides that he has found his Juliet-chan. Excuse me. And someone grabs my wrist. I immediately tear it away because don't touch me, and face a tallish dude wearing a Deadpool shirt and chains on his trousers. The guy is your stereotypical goth, just imagine. And am immediately onslaughts by the smell of old takeout. It's not good. I just noticed you had a copy of manga, which one is it? Oh, Hyokoi. Ugh, shoujo? You should try shonen, it's much better. Have you read Naruto, or One Piece? You should cosplay Nami. For those of you who don't know, Nami is an incredibly busty character who has a lot of cleavage during the majority of the manga. I am a tiny girl, with no boob, I didn't like Naruto, and I'm sorry I'm looking for my girlfriend. What do you mean you didn't like Naruto? It was bad. I have to go now. Lesbians aren't real. You just need to find a real man. At first, like many other people, I didn't know how to process this. A, you were wrong. B, what the frickle? C, if you're insinuating that you're a real man, then I think I have somewhat become gayer. D, initiate leaving mechanism. Oh hell no. And with that I left, in a burst of courage to which he couldn't follow. Dot. 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 I wish. The interaction went more like this: we do and I really have to go. Kawaii. Keep stuttering and blushing and I'll have to make you my waifu. I weep every time I think about that. I really have to leave. At least give me your number. And this will make many people happy. I was getting over my beta-ness and told him to, I don't swear, heck off, and then pegged it out of the section to the counter where I paid for the book. The guy tried to cut in line to talk to me, but at that point, the cashier cut in and said, fuck off dude, she's got a girl. WeeaBeard cuts in with a fuck you, this doesn't concern you. When you've paid I'll show you some better manga, kawaii-chan. Seriously dude, if you don't step back I'm banning you. And I told you this doesn't concern you, fuck off. Do you like, insert gay pop artist here? You look like you'd like them. I have some CDs back at my place if you want to listen. Maybe we could cuddle. I'm not fucking kidding. WeeaBeard shows him the finger. And then puts his arm in position to touch me, When Loki comes up, puts her arm round my waist and tells him to fuck off. I loved her. WeeaBeard got banned. Thank you, chill at the till. Thank you. TDLR, Neckbeard Y goth tries to woo lesbian waifu.
My Neckbeard brother's excuse for not properly feeding my little sister by Alamgo 515. This happened like just now and I need to vent. This is my first post here, so sorry for the weird formatting. This story stems from my neckbeard of an older brother, who is a legal adult. Now my older brother looks like a neckbeard. He is 5 foot 6 inches and weighs an estimated 300 pounds, and he smells like Carmelo Anthony's headband after a basketball game that went into third overtime. The thing is, I never saw my brother as a neckbeard. I was in denial. I knew about his hate for showering, his anime and video game addiction, but I never would have grouped him up with all of those weirdos. Although, after today, I finally opened my eyes. So my mother and I work together at a restaurant during the weekends, which leaves my older brother and my little sister home. The idea was that my brother would cook hot dogs or chicken for my sister for lunch and order a pizza and pasta for dinner. However, we got home and to my surprise, the only thing my sister ate that whole day was a banana, a bag of potato chips, and cookies. This really made me mad because my sister is already not in the best shape, and eating only garbage the whole day isn't going to help her. I went to go confront my brother and asked him why he didn't order a pizza from Pizza Hut or cooked her anything. By the by, when I walked into his room, it smelled like the rocks hamper he uses for all of his sweaty clothes after his hours of lifting. She didn't ask, was his first excuse. Then I told him she didn't need to ask for you to be a responsible brother and provide food for you little sister. I didn't want to spend a lot money, was his second excuse. I remind him that he has a free pizza that is a part of Pizza Hut's rewards program and he has my car if he didn't want to pay for delivery. The money part shouldn't have been an issue since it's providing a basic need for you little sibling. I then asked him why he didn't at least cook for her. We had eggs, hot dogs and chicken. I forgot to defrost the chicken, was his rebuttal to my counterpoint. Not only ignoring the fact we had other foods, but making an excuse for his incompetence with his own incompetence. All I was saying is that he should have fed her, and his final excuse was, I just didn't want to do anything the whole day. There it was folks, he was just a lazy $8 hole who locked his fat lard in his room, watched anime and played Overwatch for 12 hours straight. Did I mention that he is supposed to be starting a job soon? And that is the mindset he is in right now. Anyway, it's too late to eat, so my sister has to wait until tomorrow to have an actual meal. By the time of me typing this up, he still hasn't showered. TL, doctor, my fat-ass older brother forgets all about my little sister, sits on his computer all day and forcing my little sister to eat nothing but junk all day.
Creepy Neckbeard pretended to be gay to perv on women by Gemmel 2014. This story has been playing on my mind of late. It creeped me out then, in 2010, and it creeps me out now. Not using real names here. So, I knew a girl at his place I worked at, let's call her Jenny. She worked in the same team as me and was super sweet. The sort of person to never say no to people, outgoing, bubbly, etc. She decided that she was going to get her friend work in the same team as he was down on his luck. The day when he starts rolls around and he walks up to her and says hello. I took an instant dislike to him, he just had this creepy vibe. He looked a lot like a typical neckbeard, sans fedora. Let's call him Justin. Jenny introduces me to him and I go to shake his hand. He holds onto my hand for longer than necessary and gives me a rather effeminate hi-ya. Jenny goes on to explain that he is gay and her best friend, and that he goes almost everywhere with her. I play nice, not wanting to upset Jenny but get out as soon as I can without causing upset. As the days and weeks go by, I get more of a creepy vibe from him. One day, after work, we are walking out to the train station together when Jenny mentions that she is going underwear shopping, and is taking Justin with her. This makes me raise my eyebrow and Jenny goes on to say, oh, it's okay, he's gay and has no feelings towards women. He's got a really good eye for what colors and styles work on me. He even helps my friends and my little sister.
That strikes me as a little more fucked up. Her sister is only 15 and it's definitely not okay for her to have a man with her in any state of undress. I state as much, obviously much more carefully, but Jenny blows it off and continues to gush about how it doesn't really matter because he is gay and all. Okay then. Creepy. Yet again. I leave them to do their thing and make my way home. This behavior continues for the next few months until Justin leaves because he finds the job is not working for him the way he wanted it to be. Jenny had left a week or so earlier to move on to bigger things with her boyfriend. Fast forward about 3 years and I start a new job. I walk in after the training period and guess who I see? Justin sitting there working. He spots me pretty much immediately and comes up to say hello. Same neckbeard look, same creepy vibe. The conversation is pretty banal and normal until I ask him how his life is going after he left the last place I worked and he responded with, "Oh, I just moved into a new place and am hoping to get a girlfriend soon, things are great." Wait. What? I quickly clarify and mention that I thought he was gay. Nope, I'm straight, always have been. I immediately feel sick. I step away quickly, before I say or do something that would lose me my job. I had to go outside to get some air. While I was outside, I called Jenny, even though it's been 5 years, I remember this nearly word for word. Jenny: "Oh, hi Jimmy, it's been ages, how are you doing?" Me: Hey, so I am working at 20 company now, and funny thing, Justin is working here as well." "That's awesome. I haven't seen him for about a year now, how is he?" "He says that he is doing well and is looking for a girlfriend." "Hold up, what?" "He said that he moved into a new place, is looking for a girlfriend, and is totally straight." I made sure to clarify. "Are you fucking with me? Please tell me you are fucking with me, Jimmy." "I wish to God I was, Jenny." "He says he has always been straight," his words. Jenny goes silent for a fair minute, and when she finds her voice again, I can hear the fury in her words. "That fucking asshole, fucking cunt, pedophile piece of shit. I introduced him to my sister, he watched her dress and undress, and she was fucking underage." Her rant continued on for a while, so I am not writing out most of it. I just let her go because she needed to vent and I can deal with it. I used to be a telemarketer, after a while that shit just bounces off. We ended the call pretty soon after her rant. As I was walking inside, a plan was formulating in my head. I pulled my manager aside and explained the situation and told her that I was prepared to move team if they didn't want to fire him. She asked if I could put her in contact with Jenny, and so I gave her Jenny's number. Justin was fired within 48 hours, which pleased me greatly because it was only a matter of time before something went down between him and I. Last I heard, Jenny and her sister were pressing charges and it was looking like he had a whole string of offenses as they made contact with other women he knew and they all come forward with their stories. That was in 2015. I lost contact with Jenny, but I do see her occasionally. She's married with children now. I've never seen Justin again, and I hope he is rotting in prison somewhere. TL, Dr. Creepy Neckbeard pretended to be gay to go underwear shopping with his female friends, including minors. I see him again, find out he is straight, tell his friends, and get him fired. Neckbeard gets charged with a whole load of charges for it.
The end of the line for CasinoBeard by _typhoid_Mary. Part done of the CasinoBeard saga. What's up dudes, it's your boy. I am back to finish it. I promise I will include my reasons for why I haven't posted in like a week at the end. So this is it. The final part of CasinoBeard. My borderline stalker ex-coworker turned towards sexual assault to get my sweet ass. Consider this your trigger warning. I'll include another when it gets to it, but it's not anything too intense. Our players are me, 18-year-old girl. First time quitting a job without putting in a 2 weeks notice. Apparently Neckbeard bait. CasinoBeard, CB for short. 30-something, tall, Fat greaseball of a human with no regard for boundaries. Can't believe a girl likes video games and also doesn't want him to touch her. Lamau what? Mom, my mom. I live with her. She likes me a lot. Enough said. Fake dad, my mom's boyfriend. Gun-toting army vet. We last left off on me crying BCCB followed me from my house to work driving recklessly in the middle of fucking winter and tried to blame it on me. I quit on the spot and my car also died at night. Rip Miranda, my 2005 Chrysler minivan. Now I don't want to go into great detail because I have filed this whole incident under traumatic events in my brain folder, so I don't even remember half of it. Mostly I had to give a statement and my mom had to bring me home and I cried. A lot. You ever cry so hard your lipstick comes off? It was one of those nights. That next morning my mom has a security system installed. We took down his social media shit and made sure everyone close to me blocked him on as many platforms as they could. Even my brother, who I haven't spoken to in like 5 years, blocked him. Police and detectives were around my house and shit, asking more questions, and they increased patrol in my neighborhood for the best month. Meaning that every 3 minutes a cop would drive by day and night. From what contact I had with my now ex-boss and the security department, CB was suspended without pay. Now, I guess the trigger warning starts here? Remember him telling the bare bones of the story because I have forgotten / repressed / refused to acknowledge most of the details. Not 3 days after I had quit, he came to my house. Straight up pulled into my driveway like he belonged here and knocked on the door. My dogs were going fucking insane. It was like 4 a.m. I was still awake thanks to my ruined sleep schedule. I opened the door casually, assuming maybe my brother, who worked weird night hours too, forgot the code to our house or the key. It was him. In the moment I was scared shitless, but for the sake of the story I'll try and be more funny about it. His grotesque body was in the exact same clothes from when he crashed a smaller get-together at a sports bar. Gross sweatpants, gross t-shirt. Sweat stains everywhere, minus the fedora. But his hair was down, revealing how horribly thinning it was and how truly greasy. It gleamed in my porch light. Looking at his hair was like when pirates look at a treasure chest full of gold. Just so shiny. Borderline wet. He didn't say anything. He pushed open the door further and stepped inside. The shock of seeing him passed, so I did the only natural thing. I screamed like hell and kicked him where the sun don't shine. He bent down a little and recoiled, but I could see in his eyes he wasn't here to fuck around. I was able to slip around him while he doubled over for that split second. But he shot right back up. I imagine this is how everyone in the book Frankenstein felt when the monster would appear in front of them. I backed towards my couch, and grabbed the nearest thing, a lamp. What is it with girls always hitting home invaders with lamps? Well, I can tell you why. It is effective, especially if you have a glass/easily breakable lamp. There went the stained glass lamp we got from my grandfather after he passed. It shattered into, like, 8 big-ass pieces when it was slammed across his head. I could already see a few lines of red peeking out of his nasty fucking skin. I bet I popped a few pimples in the process of hitting him. So in a way, I was helping. Because I had opened the door, the security alarm didn't go off. Luckily my mom had heard me scream and already called 911. Immediately after I had hit him with the lamp, he was up again. All I could see in his eyes was pure rage. He had the same look as my snake when Hess about to strike. He had pushed me against the couch, placing his fucking ogre hands, no offense Shrek, on my crotch, and one on my boob. He immediately went for the ring, and pulled at it. Fucking hard. I swear to God he was about to pull it through. You weren't kidding, were you? He said. Now at the time I was fucking petrified. But in hindsight he sounded like one of those super emo dudes on YouTube who tries to talk in a super low spooky voice but it just sounds childish and weird. But at the time I just wanted his hands off of me. Thank God people had woken up. Bang. Drywall fell on top of CB's head. He let go of me immediately and turned around but ended up sticking his nose in the barrel of a shotgun. Fake dad was on the other end of it. Thank fucking God. I don't remember much of the rest. Police came very quickly because they were already in my neighborhood and he was arrested on charges of sexual assault, trespassing, and something else. It might have been a charge related to stalking. And also disturbing the peace. There was a lot of drywall damage. Fake dad had shot an almost 2-foot hole in the ceiling right above where CB had me. My parents had a lawyer involved immediately and had a temporary restraining order in place within the next few hours. Again police came, took statements from us all, took pictures of the damage, and assessed the damages. Halfway through the police being involved I tapped out and cried in the shower. For anyone wondering, my nipple is fine now, but they took my shirt for evidence because there was a nice stream of blood running down the only white shirt I owned. I had a nice collection of bruises on my boob because of his grip. In the following days we spoke to the lawyer and got a permanent restraining order in place. So he's not allowed within 300 feet of me or my family and cannot contact me or my family in any way, shape or form. That being said, to make everything easier I do not go to the casino for the grave shift. Which isn't hard to do lol. Now the real question everyone has, why did you sue? Basically, it wouldn't be worth the money and the trouble. The casino wouldn't settle because there was no proof he created an unsafe work environment. We did get a settlement from the court system for his charges for coming into my home. Legally I don't think him allowed to talk about the court proceedings because there was a money settlement. Some of the money went towards lawyer fees, the rest ended up going towards medical bills a few months later. But back to the casino suing shenanigans. My lawyer pointed out that it would be a long case, and that whatever money it'd win would go towards the lawyer fees, and I also live in a state where monetary payments as settlements are taxed. Yep. If you get raped and get a $10,000 settlement in my state, that gets taxed like fucking 20%. And I hate my state representatives, so I partially didn't sue BC. I didn't want them to take my money. Assholes. And even if I did win after everything was said and done, it'd end up with like $3,000 at most. Plus I'd have to miss work and school for court dates, and I was just fucking ready to move on. Where are they now? Well, after CB was bailed out. By who? His suspension at the casino was lifted and he went back to work, where he still works to this day as far as I know. Chad is doing fine. He now works a different job in the casino that pays more and has better hours. No, Chad and I never dated, but we are good friends. I'm a little worse for wear. After the whole incident, my migraine issue got way worse, so I have been on medication and shit for that. I have another chronic illness that involved joint pain and shit, so I haven't been doing as many races as I'd like to. And that also makes it hard to type and all that jazz. It's similar to arthritis. And it's hard to look at a screen without getting a headache. Hence why I post irregularly. Been in and out of hospitals for it all, but whatever, I'm a big kid, I can deal. I'm going to school for phlebotomy. I'd been working as a CNA again, what I did before the casino, and I hate it. My rabbits are good and in general life is fine. It's all fine. I have a boyfriend now who buys me Wendy's and sushi. And I spend a lot of time on Reddit. Thank you for following my trials and tribulations. In the future I'll post little stories that I didn't think were important enough or relevant enough to the main plot of CasinoBeard. Live long and prosper, brothers. Another thing to note is this whole time I commented on the shitty quality of his skin or his weight. Here's the thing, I wouldn't have commented on it if he wasn't actively trying to stalk and attack me. If you are large with acne skin and whatever else, I'm sure you're a lovely person. But if you try to fuck with me, will shit in your soul, I don't give a fuck.
Angry Neckbeard goes to the movies by FiftyAIDSofGay. Hey all, I just recently discovered this subreddit and decided to sign up and share a couple stories as my small contribution to this place that has entertained me so much. This first one is a really short encounter that only happened a couple months ago, but I'm still scratching my head that people like this really exist. It's a Wednesday night, and I'm going to see my friend Dahmer with a date. She finds serial killers interesting. We go into the movie theater slightly early to take our seats.
Besides us, there are a handful of other couples and a group of friends in the theater, but it's mostly empty. She gets up to use the restroom just as the previews start. In comes the Neckbeard. He's more scrawny than overweight, but he does look unkempt, gives off a creepy vibe, and has the signature ungroomed facial hair. Despite the theater being nearly empty, he decides to plop down only a few seats to my right. It occurs to me that since I'm at present the only other guy in the theater sitting alone, he may see me as a kindred spirit or something. I'm happy to chat with people I bump into, but something already seems off about this guy, so I ignore him. The theater runs a trailer for Call Me By Your Name, which appears to be a coming-of-age story about a young man discovering his sexuality. Neckbeard jolts upright in his seat to scream gay at the screen. A few people at the front of the theater nervously chuckle at his odd behavior. Up next is a trailer for a black and white movie centered around an Orthodox Jewish community. This is kind of an indie theater, so all the trailers are for smaller movies. Emboldened by what he must have seen as an encouraging reaction to his first outburst, Neckbeard is just getting started. Just as two characters in the trailer are reflecting about what they want in life, Neckbeard shrieks shekels. They want shekels. The few people who laughed at his earlier joke have turned around to look at the source of the commotion, but they're more concerned than amused now. As the trailer ends, he leans back and bellows with Jews, "You lose." Someone at the back of the theater finally gets fed up with his shit, and tells him to STFU. Neckbeard's brilliant response? "Is that what your mom said last night?" What ensues is an argument wherein Neckbeard tries to justify his antics with the excuse that it's only the previews, and the man in the back tries in vain to impress upon Neckbeard that it's more the content of his exclamations than the volume that makes them objectionable. Things finally simmer down, and since the movie is about to start and Neckbeard has already gotten called out, I assume that this is the last of it. My date returns to her seat. She somehow missed the entire altercation, but she also senses that there's something off about this guy and elects to sit on my other side so she can be further away from Neckbeard. If you've been to a Regal theater recently, you've probably seen the short student films they show ahead of the movie. They introduce the students who made the piece and make it sound like you're about to see a short film, but it ends up being a dumb 15 seconds Coke commercial. At the time, they've been showing one where a couple goes to the movies, and as the girl is getting her drink and popcorn, the guy behind the counter starts seductively jacking off the soda machine and fisting the popcorn maker while making eyes at the girl. When she gets her popcorn and soda, she stares at him and deep-throats the straw to take a sip of the drink, but then turns around and walks off with her date. I see Neckbeard out of the corner of my eye, shifting around in his seat and getting agitated as this short plays, like he wants to say something but is afraid that he'll get his hand slapped again. By the end of it he can no longer contain himself, and loudly grumbles Chad's corn is good. My date is actually the girl who introduced me to incels and neckbeards and the like, so because of her I know what a Chad is, and I have to stifle a laugh. We share a look, intrigued to have actually found a neckbeard/incel in the wild. For the rest of the movie Neckbeard mostly behaves himself, although there are a few odd moments. For instance, there's one part in the movie where Dahmer is collecting dead animals, and Neckbeard nearly falls out of his seat cackling. He also mutters "gay" a few times when Dahmer is scoping out male potential victims. When the credits roll, he books it out of there, presumably to avoid a confrontation with all the other theatergoers he pissed off earlier. As we're walking out, my date notes that Neckbeard seemed to be reacting to events in the movie just before they happened, and wonders aloud how many times he must have seen this movie already.
Say Sam the Chivalrous tries to sports, or how I got smacked with the Neckplanet's Shuttlecock by Lady_Saber. Hello everyone, Lady Saber here, back with the 11th installment of Say Sam the Chivalrous. New readers, we've gotten pretty far along in this series, so you'll want to go back and read the earlier editions, just so this story makes more sense. My Lady Bart will be somewhere in the comments, he is your friend Carrot Zone. Player 1 is me, Lady Saber of House Snark. I'm pretty athletic, but it's mostly reserved to a few specific activities. Most of my classes have changed for the new semester, so I spend a lot of time meandering in that enormous school building like a stupid freshman. Player 2 is, most regrettably, Sir Sam the Chaste and Chivalrous. He wears standard Neckplanet attire of cargo shorts, too tight graphic tee, and a wide-brimmed brown fedora, as well as a heavy musk of Axe's hottest fragrance teenage angst. Maybe it's pretentious ejaculator though, hard to tell. Hesse chronic underachiever, taking the lowest level credits offered and treating his failing grades like an accomplishment. As such, he doesn't share any of my classes. Yet. Minor player 3 is my counselor, Beardcel. He isn't a very agreeable person, but he and I have to work pretty closely to assure that my credits satisfy both the school and my exchange program. All of my classes are semester-long, so after exams my whole schedule changes. I'm taking creative writing, chemistry, sociology, and pre-calc. It isn't until a few days into these classes that Beardcel summons me to his office. As it happens, the school requires students to take at least 2 gym credits to graduate. Because I'm planning for a lot of AP classes my 11th and 12th year, I decide to switch sociology for the last open gym course. The next day, I head for my new class, Net Games. It's in the gym, on the opposite side of the school from the English department, making for a very long walk. I find the gym easy enough, but it's empty, and I hunt for another 5 minutes to find the actual classroom. I end up being late Walder Frey, and everyone looks at me like I've just crawled out from under a log. Including Sir Sam. There are a few open seats, 2 of which are on either side of Sam. He excitedly pulls out a chair for me on his left. I opt for the seat on the other side of the room. Mr. Castle, our coach, is explaining badminton's rules while Sam gives me occasional glances, turning almost completely in his seat. Subtle as a dynamite charge. Because I've missed the first few days, Mr. Castle dumps a stack of forms on my desk to take home and sign. We just went over basic introduction stuff the last few days, so you should be good. After our crash course on the rules, everyone moseys out towards the lockers to change out. As I stand, Sir Sam scrambles like the egg on an extra cheesy McMuffin to accompany m'lady. He holds the door for me, even though it's stopped open. The journey to the lockers is a short distance that takes a lifetime. The hallway is wide, but the tight crowd and number of turns make the trip sufficiently awkward with Sam lumbering by my side. He makes intriguing conversation as we walk. So, net games who? Ooh, yay. Cool, cool. It's funny, I only signed up for this class because I thought it meant, like, net games. I mean, games you play on the internet. You know, on the computer. I'd like some vinaigrette with my word salad. Oh, okay. Based on the number of other students who've yet to see the sun this year, Hess not the alone in his mistake. I managed to deflect conversation long enough to reach the door to the girls' room, and I half expect Sam to try to follow me inside. Before I can stop him, someone else does the honor. We'll call her Bree. Yo, what are you doing? Nothing, just talking to Lady Saber. Neato. This is the girls' locker, so why don't you find someone else who doesn't want to talk to you, okay? Bree is a big girl, and has obviously practiced the jock persona well. Sam considers holding his ground, but backs off with his face red and fists clenched. As we change, Bree and I talk. So, how are you liking your new boyfriend? Sam? Oh, we're not. I'm playing with you. That kid's a creep. You that exchange student, right? That's me. Bree eventually asks about my scar, and offers to tell a few of the more fantastical versions of the story that have been passed down. Hang out with me today. He won't fuck with you. While piling back into the hallway, Bree and I get separated in the crowd. At the end of the hall, Sam catches up with me like a freight train to a loaded school bus. Hess still wearing the same get-up, fedora included. What he did with his 10 minutes in the locker room I don't want to know. Hey, Lady Saber. What's up? I can't wait for this class to be over. Me neither. Believe me. Hey, I'm not even going to do anything in here. It's not like anyone can actually make me. Those are about all the words he can spit out before we're in the gym. Mr. Castle comes in behind the class, and we take a seat on the bleachers while he explains what the plan is for the day. Sam plops down to my left, slouching back and taking up far more than reasonable space. Bree is on my right, and I feel like him about to be drawn and quartered between a she-wolf and a buttered rhinoceros. While Mr. Castle briefly explains daily gym routine, Bree and I maintain a strained conversation as a pretense for ignoring Sam. He refuses to be left out. As Bree and I talk, Sam oh so subtly scoots closer and tries to insert himself into our conversation, laughing boisterously at our jokes. Bree scoots in the other direction, giving me space to scoot away. Sam follows right along, making a delightful scooter puff train. Choo-choo. This goes on for almost half a meter. I try holding up my palm for personal space, and get a high five. Bree has a pretty weak stomach for cringe. Brew, Sam, you need to give Lady Saber some damn space. What are you talking about, random girl I don't know? Dude, seriously, do you have any idea what personal space is? Not soon enough, Mr. Castle rouses us to do warm-ups. Sir Sam has already decided that warm-ups are beneath him. He and a few others stay sitting while the rest of the class go through the motions of running laps, a round of suicides, and a few basic stretches. All the while, Sir Sam is watching me. His face is slightly lost, he desperately wants to follow me around, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with Bree. He continues to overthink his strategy until the class finishes. We go to work setting up the badminton nets, and Sam is pretty much the only one still sitting out. Mr. Castle has had enough of it, and after a minute of persistent berating, Sam reluctantly gives in, but with Bree by my side, he holds his distance. As it turns out, I'm actually pretty good at badminton. Mr. Castle lets us all free play, and strolls on to give people some advice. Bree and I start out together, but we eventually decide to split up and find other matches during the last few minutes of class. No sooner has Bree left than Sam swoops in for a chance to win Milady's heart, tipping his fedora in greeting. Hey, Lady Saber. Wanna play a game? Oh, everyone else is paired off in singles or doubles. I'm trapped like Frodo in Shelob's lair. I was actually just about to grab some water. You've hardly done anything. I shrug that off and push through the double doors into the hall. I spend as long as I can drinking and stand down for a little longer before going back in. Sure enough, most people have switched owned, but the faithful Sir Sam is still waiting for me. You must have been thirsty. I have no idea what to say to that either, but Sam is happy to fill in the blanks. We were gonna play, right? Sam, I thought you said you weren't going to do anything in this class. Well, yay, but I didn't think we were going to play badminton. That's easy. You know how to play? Oh, PFFT, yay. I used to play with my friends a lot. It's easy. It's glaringly obvious that Hess never played before. Trying to serve overhand, he holds the racket sideways for a swing and a whiff 3 times before trying underhand. That one works, if hitting under the net counts. Out of bounds seems to change with each return. First it's that line, then it's this line, and then it's somewhere sort of between those 2 lines, and I always manage to land just barely on the wrong side of it. It's like playing checkers with a pigeon. At one point, Mr. Castle stops by and tries to give Sam a little help with his technique. With enough yay, okay, whatever and yay, I know that he moves on to the next person. After only a few rounds, another guy joins our game. He jumps in on my side, and Sam reacts immediately. Hey, 2-on-1 isn't fair. Okay, maybe you two could be together. No, Lady Saber, you and I should be on a team. Sam aside, I still enjoy the game. I consider sitting it out, but I am not going to be kept from something new I like. Plus, he'd probably just sit it out with me to make sure I was safe. Alright, then. Luckily for me, Terry's not a whole lot of playing to do. Sam insists on trying to return every shot in protection of Milady's honor. My job is to hold the racket, look ready, and dance out of the way while Sam dives for the shots on my side of the court. It's kind of like playing underwater tag with a beluga. The other guy we're playing with is deliberately hitting towards my side, trying to give me something to return. When it's Sam's turn to serve, my turn is always next time. Sometimes he'll randomly hit it towards me. Really fast. Hey, watch out. Think fast, Lady Saber. Ha ha. The best part? I'm on Fedora Patrol. When his suede great helm takes a tumble, I'm supposed to get it. Hey, Lady Saber, will you grab my hat? You dropped it, Sam. Yay, but you're closer. Was there ever so sweet a sound as 2 whistle blasts? As the class starts to take down the nets and put away the gear, Bree catches up with me again, and Sam sheepishly retreats to a safe distance, remaining there for the rest of class. After school that day, I storm into Picel's office and beg for a class change. I stay for almost 2 hours, making everything from angry demands to crocodile tears. Finally, he relents, and lets me switch back to my original schedule. I promise to make up the credit next year, planning to hunt for threatening course titles like Full Contact Physical Sports Level 3.
Mommy's Boy the Stalker by Spooky404. I work with this guy who is nice enough that I considered him a work friend. He's really into anime and superheroes and started chatting with me because my cube has a bunch of Ninja Turtle figurines. I'm nice to everyone and always willing to have a little chat if I'm not busy, so I talk to him about anime and superheroes even though I'm not that into it anymore. He sends me a friend request on Facebook and I accepted it without giving it much thought. He immediately starts tagging me and writing very long-winded posts about how great it is to be friends with me. I remove the tags and ignore it. I don't pay too much attention to him while he talks and I do my work, so I miss some rather obvious red flags. First, the neckbeard should have clued me the fuck in from day one. Dude literally has a neckbeard, like he shaves his face every day but only shaves his neck once a week, scraggly pube looking scruff. Second, I should have noticed that he is spending more and more time at my cube. A 5-minute chat has now become 20 to 30 minutes every damn day. Third, he's no longer standing at the side of my cube. He's sitting on my fucking desk next to my keyboard with his arm on the back of my chair. Lastly, I didn't realize how he always asks really creepy prying questions to find out personal details of my life. Ugh. But it gets way worse from here. Let me introduce you to my work Neckbeard. He is 30 years old and lives with his mom. He definitely has mommy issues as he talks about how she is the most beautiful and perfect woman on earth. He draws softcore porn anime fan art for his mom. He has never had a girlfriend, but he claimed to have dated a Chinese girl. I later found out there was nothing between them and he is probably the reason she went back to China and deleted all her social media accounts. He used to talk about this girl all the time but stopped around Christmas time. He once told me he was saving money to go to China to search for her, which is kind of super creepy lol. Unlike most hinbies, he's not fat and has decent hygiene. He also dresses fairly well, at least at work. For all I know he wears Naruto shirts at home. Why did I not see how obviously creepy this guy is? I really don't know. Around Christmas shit got uncomfortable. He gave me a present, a Leonardo Ninja Turtle, his favorite turtle, and a very personal card. In the card he stated that I was the most beautiful woman he knows aside from his mother and he hopes our relationship can blossom like a botanical garden. Ick. Dude, I've known you less than a year and we only talk casually. While you try to tag me in 800 things a day on Facebook, do you not notice I remove those tags and ignore you? We are not close. I actually am in a long-term relationship, which leads to things getting even worse with NB. NB hates that I've been dating a guy for 10 years and I'm not married. He is creepy obsessed with the fact that I don't have a ring. My BF and I don't prioritize marriage, we have a strong relationship and don't give a fuck. We're in the process of buying a house and when NB found out he spazzed the fuck out on me. First he tells me we can't buy a house because we're not married, if we break up I'll be trapped. He sends me some stupid article from the BBC about divorced couples stuck living together because of lack of funds to move out. I call him out for being rude about my relationship and he backed off for like half a day. The next time I see him he tells me I'm breaking his heart. He loves me and can't bear to see me throw my life away like this. Around this time he starts bringing me gifts of junk food with notes about how he wouldn't force me to work out and eat a strict diet like my boyfriend does. I should mention I'm very into fitness and I'm on a special diet due to GI issues. He left me a pack of Oreos with a drawing of some busty anime girl and a little note saying thinking of you. Again I tell him to back off, we're not dating and never fucking will. I told him our friendship is on thin ice and he needs to leave me alone. He's been working hard over the past month to undermine my relationship so I've blocked him and been avoiding him at work, which turns out is really hard because he memorized my habits and pretty much is stalking me. He follows me when I go on breaks or get coffee and talks about how much better my life would be if I moved in with him and his mom, and how I'll never get a ring from my douchebag boyfriend. I need a nice guy like him. He would treat me like a princess because chivalry is alive and well in his house. I would just need to respect his queen, of course. Oh Lord, please save me. Last week he gave me the most horrid gift of all. He left me a donut with a plastic ring, like from a vending machine, stuck in it. HR is now involved and he's not allowed to go to my office. I'm super creeped out though because he has pretty much all my pictures saved on his phone and he memorized my personal calendar. He asks shit like what my weekend plans are and not even thinking I tell him. I'm realizing he's being manipulative and trying to find me outside work. His stalking behavior has me notifying friends and family to keep an eye out for him.
Gallant Neckbeard on the bus won't take no for an answer and tries to follow me home by dog in push-up position. So, I'm a woman in my 20s and last night I was taking the bus home and generally minding my own business. At some point, a guy with a stereotypically nerdy appearance, generally ill-fitting, unstylish clothes rather than fedora/trenchcoat/ etc., sits down next to me. He remarks that my feet must be cold since I'm wearing sandals in rather cold weather. I'm immediately annoyed since I just want to get home and am definitely not interested in getting hit on by anyone, especially someone who I can tell will be excruciatingly awkward about it. He seems harmless though and I'm a pretty non-confrontational person so I just say something like yeah, I guess. Then he says okay, the reason I sat down next to you is that I think you're really cute. And I try to look extremely annoyed and disinterested, but looking back I probably should have been more upfront with him at this point. Then, he starts asking me a bunch of questions about myself. I'm just trying to get through the bus ride, so I lie about my name and stuff and try to make clear through how I act that I don't want to talk to him. He doesn't get it though. Then it starts to get even worse. He takes on this really nice tone like he's trying to be my therapist or something. At one point he says you seem really unsure of yourself. I wonder why that is. At this point I get mad and say maybe I just don't want to talk to a stranger on the bus right now. Another bizarre exchange we had is this: at one point he says ¿Tú hablas español? And I say no and he says neither do I really, I just taught myself that today on Duolingo. What the fuck? Was I supposed to be impressed? Truly mystifying. Eventually I say, kindly but explicitly, that I am not interested in him and do not want to continue the conversation. He then says, I swear, okay, I'll let you get off the bus early and I won't bother you anymore. I crack up laughing, how chivalrous, to invite me to get off the bus early and walk home, and I say no thanks, I'm getting off at my stop, but you can feel free to get off early. He doesn't seem to find this exchange as funny as I do and continues to try to talk to me. The nice guy stuff continues. He then abruptly launches into this spiel about how sometimes friends grow apart, but how he tries to make an effort to stay in touch with people he cares about, and then he says I would be one such person and he would never forget about me or not care about me. At this point I'm basically laughing because things are getting so ridiculous. Then he starts shoving his phone at me and trying to get me to put my number in it, and I tell him no over and over, and finally we get to my stop. He keeps saying last chance. Until I get off the bus. What a relief. Before walking home, I have to stop at the grocery store near my house because I have no food for dinner. I should add that earlier in my conversation with the guy, I made the mistake of saying I was hungry and saying that I might get food at name of grocery store. As soon as I said that, I knew I shouldn't have, but of course it was too late. So, I go get food there and then go to the self-checkout, and suddenly I look up and realize the guy is just standing there creepily staring at me. How long had he been following me and or waiting at the store? I had no idea. Well, thank fucking God I didn't go right home. He could have followed me home and found out where I live. At this point I freak out on him and yell, "You just went from annoying to scary. Get away from me right now or I'll call the police." He suddenly looks terrified and says, "I'll leave right now," and bolts away back in the direction of the bus stop with me still yelling in his direction that I'm serious about calling the police. I run home checking carefully to make sure he isn't following me. Last night, I actually had a dream that he was standing outside my house waiting for me to come out, and I called 911 right before waking up. I was so relieved to find that it wasn't real. So, that was my encounter from last night. Here's hoping I never run into this guy again.
Beardcel 2, Chad comes to lunch by UberAwesone. Okay, since a bunch of you all wanted more, I'll share a story that happened today. See, after the whole rustling from last time, I figured I'd leave Beardcel alone for a couple of days to plan a better prank to let him chill out. Well, today, Batvillain invited me to lunch at her place because he had a friend over and he was weird. Also, a minor thing that I wanna share but has nothing to do with the story, but after the whole prank, Batvillain told me that Beardcel apparently added me to his list of mortal enemies at spot 16 for ruining his sister. Yeah, Edek, but anyways, without further ado, let's go. Characters are the same as last time plus one new dude. The other kid, or Talk for short. He was the dude that Beardcel played cards with in the last story. Skinny, really bad acne on his forehead, cheeks, and I swear I saw SMTH on his chin. He's actually a little bit taller than Beardy. Probably 5'8". Idrik, I'm eyeballing it based on how tall I am. No neckbeard, but he had a few stray hairs on his chin that could charitably be called whiskers. Really greasy black hair that's styled in a bowl cut. And remember that guy from the Looking for an Internet Girlfriend vid? His voice was basically like that but with a bit more of an Indo accent. And his fashion sense was for shit. He was wearing a bunch of neon bracelets, a blue MLP t-shirt, and a pair of black drip pants. So, moving on, today is a pretty chill day, as most Saturdays should be. Except for when I go outside. Normally, I'd wanna stay inside all day and sleep on the couch, but I have cats, which aren't allowed inside BC. My mom has allergies, so I go outside a lot to feed and hug them. It's usually an uneventful thing, except today. Beardcel is out on his porch with Talk and sees me cuddling a cat, and for some reason, he quietly tells his buddy that he's that Chad cuck that ruined my sister. Oh my salty little beard, how wrong you are. Talk's response, however, blew me away. He says, "Hey look, the pussy has a pussy," while pointing directly at me. Right, well, that's enough outside for me today, except, Batvillain actually hears that second yell and comes out to 1, pet a fluv, and 2, invite me to lunch at her house. I'll be honest, I'm taken by surprise by this invite since I assumed we'd be leaving the beard alone today. Aren't we leaving Beardcel alone this weekend? Batvillain, just come over to my place. That little fuck, she points to Talk, has a weird thing for me, and I need a fake boyfriend to get him to buzz off. Can't tell your parents to give him the boot. Batvillain, they're out today, and the maid doesn't like to get involved in our social shit. Just help me out, I've got satay inside. Satay? Say no more, I'm sold. I basically nod a quick yes, put my cat down and follow her into the living room. Here's the room layout for reference. So, immediately as soon as I walk in, Talk does a full 180 from earlier, and acts like he's never seen me. Talk, who's this mysterious fellow? A boyfriend? Bad villain, sure, let's go with that, isn't that right She actually does an exaggerated cheek pinch much to the chagrin of Beardcel and Talk, but, he's white? What could you possibly find appealing about a mindless thug like that? Okay, wow, you fucking racist midget. Bad villain, he's sweet, nerdy, has similar interests, and hella handsome, I'll stop you flatterer. Talk, clearly you're not getting it, what does he have that I don't? Honestly, Bat Villain's reply to this honestly catches me so off guard I had to stifle a laugh. Bat Villain, well, he stands a few inches taller than most men. Nice, real subtle there Bat Villain. She grabs my arm and pulls me to the couch and then. Beardcel, get your hands off that filthy Chad. Don't worry shorty, I'm clean. Bat Villain, just let us eat in peace. We eat in uncomfortable silence. There's a few angry glares thrown my way so every so often I move just a little bit closer. Just to piss them off, I decide to feed one of the satay sticks to Bat Villain. This pisses Talk and Beardcel off to no end. Eventually Bat Villain has to use that facilities, and that's when Talk and Beardcel tear into me. Beardcel, back off cuck, my sister deserves an intellectual, a nice guy, someone that could treat her like a queen. Right, so, you want her to date you? I saw a bunch of comments saying he probs wanted to, so I figured it might throw him off a little. Beardcel, I think I can hear the gears turning in his head. No, someone like Talk. Yeah, and you broke the rules anyways. I had dibs on her. I honestly choked on my food BC of how off guard that caught me. You do realize that dibs isn't a thing, right? Talk, whatever, if you're the cuck that stands in between me and Bat Villain, I'll take you out like a knight fighting a dragon. She needs a nice guy. So, a nice doesn't respect her decisions? Thank you Reddit for arming me with all the responses I needed. He honestly has no response to this, and thankfully before he can muster one up, Bat Villain comes back and invites me to her room. Now, we aren't doing anything shady, but Beardcel and Talk think we're up to SMTH. We can sorta see their shadows moving around through the gap under the door trying to listen in, so in a moment of inspired genius, Bat Villain yells privacy please, and puts on this goddamn song. I'm not even laughing at this point. I'm silently wheezing BC goddamn this shit is too funny. Unfortunately, we forgot to lock the door. And this bit is the real kicker. Are you ready? Taking your deep breath? Okay, good. Beardcel and Talk actually burst into the room, ready to freak out. Hey BT Bat Villain being seduced to the dark side by a Chad, and, Bat Villain, not wanting to ruin the illusion, and with that, any hope of scaring Talk off, decides to kiss me. At least, that's what it looks like. You know that trick that you learn in drama class to fake a kiss on stage? If you don't, here's how it works. The person who initiates the kiss puts their hand on the cheek that faces away from the audience, and puts their thumb over both of your mouths at an angle that the audience can't see. This makes it look like you are kissing, but saves both actors the trouble of doing SMTH like that on stage. They see what they think is a moment of passion, and I really can't describe the noise Talk made. For those of you that browse r/green text, the noise was basically re. An actual person went re. God, I wish I could say I was making this up. Talk is red-faced, or, as red-faced as you can get when you have a tan, and Beardcel is in shock really. Bat Villain seizes the moment to basically tear them a new one for killing the moment. Bat Villain, oh my fucking god, do you have any understanding of privacy and personal space? Go back to your own rooms you fucking red-pilled assholes. I've made a choice and I'm sticking to it. Talk, but he's Bat Villain, I don't give a shit what you think he is, he's a real nice guy. He treats me with respect, and doesn't come barging into my room just BC I leave the door unlocked. Beardcel, but we're trying to protect you. Bat Villain, I don't need your protection, now get the fuck out, and if you tell mom and dad about this, I'll show them the disgusting shit you keep under your bed. Side note, I asked after this, Apparently Beardcel keeps Shota/Lolly comics under his bed. I feel sick, got it? They both nod and leave. After that, Batvillain spends like 5 minutes apologizing for springing the stage kiss on me like that, and after that's all settled, I decide to go home because I've had my fill of euphoria for the day. Out of the house though, I left through the front door this time. Beardcel and Talk basically block me from using the door. I may be ready to shove past them until Beardcel hits me with a bomb. You're on thin ice, buddy. Next time you come here, you're dead. He then does an exaggerated knuckle crack thing which looks super stupid because his fingers are basically Vienna sausages. And that brings us to the end of the story. Batvillain says she has more stories about Talk and Beardcel from over the years, so let me know if you wanna hear them. TL, Drive, a filthy Chad goes to the home of an intellectually superior genius. The red-pilled alpha and his friend kill the mood, then threaten me.
I dated a gaming genius Neckbeard who only drank Fanta by Mart_D. Just stumbled on this sub and thought I'd share my own experience of dating a Neckbeard. So this all happened when I was about 17 to 18. I'm 24 now and have my life in order, but back then probably not so much the case. I went to a girls-only school my entire life, and was terribly shy, nerdy, and introverted, so my experience with boys was limited to say the least. Don't get me wrong, I had good friends and went out to parties with them and stuff, but was never really comfortable with it. So I was always into video games, and at that time I was playing a lot of League of Legends, and this is where I first met Neckbeard. I had a username which made it pretty obvious I was a girl, so I used to get a lot of invites and attention, which as a 17-year-old low self-esteem virgin I enjoyed. So Neckbeard and his friend invite me to play, and we gradually get to know each other. I like him, he's got a really dry sense of humor, and, to me at least, he's really good at the game. He was also a few years older than me. I kind of felt sorry for him too because his friend is always making jokes at his expense, and he seems to have a really low self-esteem. Later I would realize this was not the case. We soon find out that by chance we actually live really near each other. I'm in Noord-Brabant, Netherlands, and Neckbeard lives just across the border in Belgium. Things move pretty slow, but we play with each other regularly. We moved to voice chat. His profile picture on Skype was the head of some anime character. I don't know anything about that, which looking back should probably have been the first red flag. But he sounds normal enough, very monotone voice like he's always depressed, and eventually we decide to meet Earl. We agree that Neckbeard will get the train to my hometown, and we'll meet at one of the cafes there. You know how if you get to know someone without seeing them you build up your own mental picture of what they look like? I'm not 100% sure what I was expecting, but Neckbeard looked nothing like it. He was really, really pale, like ghost white, and overweight. This wasn't helped by him wearing a gaming shirt, like this, a few sizes too small for him, and cargo shorts. His neck and chin was covered in a pube fuzz, like he just left it to grow. I really don't think he had ever shaved or touched it in his life at that point. He was also cripplingly awkward and shy, though I'm not much better, so we spent a good half hour of cringy small talk. So you're probably thinking the story ends there, and I go home mortified at myself. But no. Oh dear no, readers. My 17-year-old self decides that this guy right here is good enough for me to give it a go with. I continue seeing Neckbeard, and gradually find out more about him. He lives with his parents, in their garage. He does have a job, but he hates and resents it like almost everything else in his life. I don't think I can adequately get it across to you just how negative he was about everything. Everything. He was the most depressing person to be around, and what's worse is he had a huge superiority complex. His parents, who were actually really nice people, didn't understand his genius and made him work a shitty 9-to-5 job. His boss was an ignorant fucker who forced him to do menial tasks that were beneath him. The only thing he did in his free time was play League of Legends. On his days off that's all he would do all day apart from sleep and eat, and that's pretty much the only thing we could do together. He once took a week off from work and spent the 7 days doing that. Neckbeard's diet was bad. Really bad. I don't think I ever saw him drink water, he subsisted entirely on Fanta. He had several huge bottles of it stocked in his mini fridge. For food he had maybe something like burger and fries, don't think he ever saw a salad or vegetable. Once I got him to try a piece of broccoli and he made a face like he just ate a lemon and actually gagged. So this has already dragged out long enough. If Therese any interest, I can relate how the romantic side of things went with Neckbeard. Also, he believed in some crazy conspiracy theories. He thought the earth was flat, for instance.
Neckbeard tries to whisk me away in front of my own girlfriend by SheWhoDances. Made an account just for this cause, it's so strange. Here's the cast. Me, a mute girl who's apparently decently attractive, to attract Neckbeard. A GF, my girlfriend, loves anime and cosplay, and B, Neckbeard, overweight, with a large neckbeard and anime t-shirt. Now, the story. My best friend is turning 18 in just a few days, so me and my GF wanted to get him a figurine of a girl he liked from an anime. So, we checked a few places, didn't find much, but eventually my girlfriend left me to go ask a store cashier. Then, I saw NB walking up to me. I waved, 'cause I'm kinda polite, and he apparently saw that as a chance to move in. NB, hey. Glad to see you appreciate anime too. What's your favorite? I shrugged, 'cause I'm almost certain this guy doesn't know now to sign. NB, don't know? Well, maybe I can tell you my favorites over lunch. How about it? It was at this moment my girlfriend came back, the figurine in hand. GF, hey. I got it. Wanna look for anything else, or just wanna go? NB, hey. Who are you? GF, oh, I'm GF, her girlfriend. Who are you? NB, I'm NB, and I was taking her to lunch. GF, oh really? She kinda gave him this suspicious glare. Not too sure how to describe it. But it was like she was calling his bluff. NB, humph. It seems you don't trust me to be a gentleman around your little lady. Good day, madams. With that, he stormed out. GF and I just looked at each other before paying and leaving.
Chad's helped me stop being a neckbeard. By Lorem63000118. In the 90s, I was 50% neat, 50% neckbeard, and 100% loser. My neckbeard friends tolerated me, until right after I got sober. Then they discouraged me from taking any action to improve my situation, and made disgusted faces to my face. Who helped me? Chads. So many Chads. While my neckbeard friends never encouraged me, Chads couldn't help me enough. They were ambitious, kind, and thought of others and the future. Dental, one example, my neckbeard buddies never cared if I brushed my teeth. None of them had been to the dentist since childhood because they didn't want to. Nowadays my dental team, dentist, periodontist, and oral surgeon, graduated from the following schools: University of Chicago, Case Western, Harvard. Some of the finest schools in history. While we were drinking and playing GoldenEye, which is still great, my future dental Chad buddies were studying, and couldn't wait to help humanity. I benefited from their ambition. I could say the same about my supervisor at work, nutritionist, physical therapist, etc. All Chads, all helped me improve my life. I still have a latent neckbeard in me, and I have some affection for him. He is uncompromising and naive. But he had to die so a more complete me could handle a new, bigger life. Meanwhile, no one will mistake me for a Chad. But I am healthier and happier thanks to the Chads who gave so much of themselves to me.
This isn't a Dragon Age romance. Stop trying to buy me things. By TrySoHardRightMiaow. Hello all. Oh boy, does this story make me cringe every time I tell it, but man, it's just too perfect for this sub to not post it. Let's set the stage. Cast list. Me, your narrator. Short, adorable, loves DD, comics, video games, and very select animes. I'm also super friendly, which can sometimes come across as flirty. In summary, serious neckbeard bait. Dark Brony, the neckbeard of this tale, named for his love of MLP and Dark Souls. Tall and lanky, sports the typical neckbeard, only wears gray for some reason, and doesn't seem to know how a shower works if his hair is anything to go by. Pinkie Pie, friend from high school and, unfortunately, works with Dark Pony at a video game store. Doodles all the time, likes watching MLP solely for the animation and colors. She's an artist, and can't say no to anyone. I met Dark Pony while I was visiting Pinkie Pie at work. We'd do some small talk about any Marvel movies that we'd seen, comic books, video games, the weather, whatever while I was waiting for Pinkie Pie to get off work. We didn't have any riveting conversations, it was just to pass time. At least, that's how I saw it. After maybe a month, I get a friend request on Facebook from him. So, I don't think anything of it and accept. Oh, how foolish I was. I hear from Pinkie Pie that Dark Brony has been talking about me at work, saying that he feels a connection with me, that I'm not like the typical normies that he's used to seeing here. We chit-chat every couple of days on Messenger and I mention that I'm saving up for a new gaming computer that some of my buddies agreed to help me build. Conversation goes as follows. Dark Brony, do you know how much it's gonna cost? Me, I dunno, but probably a lot. That's why I'm saving up as much as I can. I don't expect to be able to pay for it all for maybe a year or two. I'm not in a huge rush though. Dark Brony, cool. Dark Brony, when's your birthday? Me, getting suspicious, 2 weeks from now. Dark Brony, neat. Planning anything? The conversation then goes on to how neither of us like to celebrate our birthdays and I forget about the previous topic for a bit. My birthday rolls around and I'm hanging out with Pinkie Pie at her place with a few of her work friends, Dark Brony included. We're having a few drinks, telling work-related horror stories that have befallen us when Dark Brony hands me his phone. Dark Brony, what do you think of this? I look at the screen and see this. Me, looks pretty sick. Dark Brony, is this kind of what you're looking for? Me, something along those lines, probably. How much is it? Dark Brony, it's alright. Don't worry about it. Come again? Me, what do you mean? Dark Brony, it's a birthday present. What? I am super uncomfortable when people buy me things, especially when I know they're expensive. Plus, I've only known this guy for a little under 2 months, so I feel not only extremely embarrassed but so uncomfortable that I'm hoping that I'll drop dead just to get out of this situation. I am in hell. Me, dude. No. It's fine. I don't need one right now and I can do it myself. Dark Brony, it's fine. I can afford it and a lady like you deserves to have a proper gaming setup. Pinkie Pie overhears this and swoops in, and explains how much I hate when people do that, and he backs off, spending the rest of the party on his phone and glaring at me from time to time. From that day on, every time I came into his work, he'd try and buy me something, a pop figure, another video game, lunch, a taxi ride home, which is ridiculous since I bus everywhere, anything. I would have to tell him no at least 3 times before he gave up, but he'd always brush it off with the ladies always play hard to get or women like to be given things. It's okay to admit it. After maybe a week of me shooting down his attempts to buy me things, he hits me up on Facebook again. Dark Brony, hey, are you single? Me, yeah, why? Dark Brony, well, so am I. Looking for a player too? 3. Me, thanks but no thanks. You're a good friend, but I'm not interested in you that way. Oh, he was not happy about that. Dark Brony, I don't get it. Every time I try and get close to someone, they shoot me down. What am I doing wrong? Dark Brony, maybe I'm just destined to be alone forever. Me, that's not true. You'll find someone. Dark Brony, but you were it for me. You were supposed to be the one. Whoa, wait. Me, I'm sorry if I led you on. Dark Brony, I bought you the gaming PC you wanted. Is that not enough for you? Me, what? You actually bought that? Dude, that's almost $1,000. I told you not to. Why would you do that? We've only known each other for 2 months. Dark, brony, I wanted to give you what you wanted. That's what a good boyfriend does. Me, we barely know each other. Please just return it. I can't accept something like that. I don't feel that way towards you, and I'm sorry if I was leading you on by talking with you at work. Note, we only talked about nerd stuff while I browsed and he stayed behind the counter. He never responded and eventually blocked me. Heard from Pinkie Pie a month later that he started shit-talking/whining about me at work. Some highlights include: she said everything I wanted to hear. Turns out she was using me. Women only ever want men for their money. I can't believe it. I thought we were going to be together forever. She's the love of my life. So, I'm never visiting Pinkie Pie at work, ever again. DLDR, dude I've known for a month tries to buy me a $1,000 gaming desktop for my birthday, continues to try buying me things, and then gets butthurt when I, the love of his life, turn him down.
GameShop I, Lars and the real gay by PM_me_best_dogs. Well, it's Christmas. I've been home for all of 24 hours, and my family has already had one screaming match, someone's had a sobbing fit, and I'm drinking. Happy fucking holidays. But because I'm most alive at ass o'clock in the morning, let's begin. Friends, Romans, Beardymen, lend me your ears. I promised you a story about working at a video game store that we will call GameShop, and I'm drunk and here to deliver. Okay, so to preface, I live a life that can perhaps best be described as things just kind of happen to me. I don't actively seek them out. Sometimes they happen because I love alcohol and have no impulse control. Sometimes they're good things, like running into George Takei in a mall. Sometimes they're funny, like accidentally doing acid, and sometimes, they're just straight up what the fuck just happened to me. This is one of those ones. I worked at GameShop for about 6 months, between January and June of 2017. Full disclosure, I led my way into that job. Please don't think I'm cool or anything. I own like 5 games on an ancient 360 and 4 on Steam, and they're all long as hell and I like replaying them. I'm a creature of habit. But since I can parrot back things people tell me about games easily, I managed to convince the interviewer that I was pretty proficient. What I did like was the actual sales aspect. I love talking to people, I like convincing people to buy things they don't need, and am good at fake enthusiasm. Ergo, great mall employee, unfortunate target of beardom. We opened on GameShop at about 1 p.m. on a Sunday. It was just me and the assistant manager, who we'll call Alicia, and the store was looking pretty dead. For those who've never worked GameShop, you have to hit a certain cash goal with a specific percentage of pre-owned shit and a specific percentage of merch. Please buy pre-owned, you're doing the employees so much good. I was praying for customers so I wouldn't get fired, which will happen if your numbers are down too many weeks in a row. And then in walked my savior, Camo. He was about 22, in army fatigues 2 sizes too small, so his stomach was starting to poke out over his zipper. I couldn't help but stare at the strange triangular glob of flesh sticking out between his shirt and his pants. Did he know it was there? Should I have told him? Was that the future of the Paris runways at Fashion Week in the coming spring? Other quick thing, I live right near a military base. People in uniform are pretty common, especially those who've left the military and wear it for respect. I didn't tell him about the glob. Third thing, if you look like you might have a vagina at GameShop, you'll get hit on. That's just a fact. Camo approached the counter and propped one elbow on it, like he was attempting a seductive lean. It didn't work. I smiled and gave my standard NPC greeting. Hey, how's it going? Can I help you find anything? Camo smiled and licked his lips. For some reason, it was reminiscent of a lizard licking its own eyeball, and I felt distinctly like a very nervous fly. I shuddered. Yeah, he said, I'm looking to start playing Magic, the Gathering, and I was wondering if you could hook me up with a starter deck. This was one of those rare instances where I actually get excited about selling something. I'm terrible at Magic, but it's really fun, and I've played it against my dad for years. Immediately, I turned to the shelf and started selling. Actually, we just got this great new deck builder kit in. It's the Among Kit bundle, which will set you up with 80 mana, every token in the set, and 15 booster packs. Sound good? Camo looked a little surprised. Do you play? I shrugged. Female GameShop employees are supposed to keep up a girl next door kind of persona. The uniform is gender neutral, only jeans or khakis as pants, flannel/geek t-shirts plus Converse are encouraged, but Terry's kind of an unspoken rule that we're not really supposed to come off as better or more experienced than the customers. Yeah, I play a bit. It's a good time. In an instant, Camo was back to seductive leaning on the counter. Maybe he was trying to get me to look at his butt? I don't know. What I did notice is that he smiled with all his teeth, winked, and said, "Well, it'd be a lot more fun to have a pretty girl like you teach me instead." Now, a note to people everywhere considering asking someone out. If they cannot physically run away from you if they want to, do not ask them out. Easy rule, right? Well, I couldn't run, so I did the next best thing, smiled, giggled, and said in my best princess voice, "You know, that's really sweet, but I don't think my girlfriend would like that." Again, Camo looked taken aback. He pushed back quickly off the counter with a nervous, save yourself chuckle. "Okay, that's cool. It's cool. You know, totally fine with that. You know, that thing that people do when they're still a little homophobic but they know it's not cool to openly bash gay people anymore, so they overcompensate? That." He continued, "I mean, I'm a lesbian myself. As in, I'm into women too." It was a relatively harmless comment, so I just smiled and nodded. Nothing I hadn't had before. But when I started to talk about the cards again, he cut me off. "So, are you really gay, or is it just a college thing?" I froze. So did my manager, who had been listening in. All we could hear was the TV blaring an ad for Persona 5 and the faint sound of a mall cop Segway outside. Finally, I asked, "Sorry?" Camo blundered on with exactly as much confidence as ever. "Well, most girls have some kind of gay thing in college, but they get over it when they figure out they need a guy. So, like, I could come back next week and you'd be over it. Is that your thing?" I shook my head. "No, dude, I'm just gay." He nodded again, as if contemplating. And then he asked perhaps the comment that topped things that just kinda happened to me, "So, if you're gay, you can probably tell what guys are hot." I haven't had a girlfriend in, like, 2.5 years. He planted both his hands firmly on the counter again and tried to lean towards me. I took an unconscious step back. Is it because I'm ugly? I think questions come best in threes, so let's stick with that. First, who the fuck asks a stranger that? Second, why would you ask a retail worker who can't insult you? And third, what the fuck, dude? At this point, I was white-knuckling the counter behind me to stop from running or punching this guy, but luckily, my manager decided to step in. She was even better at the retail persona than I was. "Sir, you're being inappropriate." She smiled placidly, a smile that clearly said, "If you continue to bother this teenage girl, I will very politely murder you." Camo frowned and looked between us. Suddenly, realization bloomed on his face like mold and shower grout. "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" Alicia stopped short. So did I. We both pointed in each other's general directions and said something like, "What? No, we work together. She's not, I mean I'm not." He interrupted, "So why are you butting in? Can't you see we're busy?" "Because you're being inappropriate, sir." Camo rolled his eyes. "We're fine. She's fine. You're fine, right?" He turned to me, apparently not noticing the part where I had gone completely mute. I thanked every god I could think of, Morgan Freeman included, for the 15 inches of formica between us that I was gripping like a life raft. "Yeah, she's fine. We're having a perfectly good conversation. If anything, you're being My boss cut in again. There's actually a store upstairs, Indie Geek Store, that has a much larger magic collection. They might be able to help you more. Do you want to check that out? Finally, Camo seemed to get the hint. Yeah, that might work. See you later. He turned on his heel and left in a cartoon parody of a goose step. I breathed a physical sigh of relief. It'd been a little too close, enough so to smell his sour milk breath, and I felt like vomiting. Alicia turned to me. I texted my fiancé in Indie Geek Store about whoever that was, and Hess going to trap him until Hess sold him something. She paused and smiled, a little sadly. If he comes back, you can go in the back and make phone calls. I've got your back. Camo didn't come back to the store that day, thank God. But he did come back 2 days later asking for me. My manager described his comment as, the blonde girl who fingering motion, yeah? Bright side, Hess now banned from all the game shops in our district, which I think is some kind of justice. So there you have it, game shop story number 1. I'll get back to you soon with more. Fun fact of the day, It's a Wonderful Life was once investigated for being communist propaganda. Happy holidays, kiddos.
I'm a fake gamer girl frowned by dulcepuella. Hi. I'm not sure if this belongs here or not, but I think the guy in the story's behavior was awfully beardy. It's not terribly exciting, but it did bother me for a couple hours afterward. Lamau. So, thanks to my parents, I've been into anime, and especially video games, ever since I was a small kid. My dad and I have been huge Nintendo fans for years. But one franchise that I've never been able to latch onto, try as I might, is Pokémon. Funnily enough, my boyfriend is my opposite / not really into video games, but hugely into the series. Although Pokémon isn't something I really care for, I do think it's fun to get matching versions with boyfriend. I've only got X, Moon Ultra Sun ! The games are cute enough, and games that let me make my own little character are always worth it to me lol. And wasn't it convenient that, about a week after Ultra Sun Moon were released, my close friend R2 would call me up, stricken with boredom. She always did have a knack for sensing when I was feeling the urge to spend money irresponsibly. Dulcepuella, she began, I know it's the middle of the night. But, wanna drive around? We can go to IHOP or something. Oh. Yeah, totally. I was just thinking about getting that new Pokémon, too. Can we stop by the store? That's the thing about having a weird work schedule, getting hotcakes in the middle of a Wednesday night was totally a thing I could do. I quickly slipped on some shoes, and waited for R2 to pick me up. Our first stop was Wall / Mart. The store was nearly empty and we were both hungry, so we made a point to make the trip a quick one. R2 and I hurried to the electronics section, where we're poring over the video game area when a voice piped up behind us. Hi, girls. Anything I can help you find? Turning around, we bore witness to an average older man, around 40 / 50 years old. There was nothing strange about his appearance, nor did he have that fedora, as the kids say. No neck beard, no fast food stains, and no apparent social awkwardness. Oh, yeah, actually, I replied, we were just looking for the new Pokémon. Do you guys have Ultra Sun? The employee scoffed for some reason, and retorted, you mean Po / Moan, right? Yup, I can unlock the case for you. Let me guess, you're picking it up for your boyfriend, right? I laughed, but did this old guy just say that? Am I being fake / gamer / girl right now? By a mummy? At Wall / Mart? There's no way. Now, to be fair, I can sort of understand where he'd get such an idea. The way I dress doesn't exactly broadcast my interests. I dress like any normal girl, for lack of a better term. I really don't own many graphic tee / shirts. And I mispronounced Pokémon / I said Po / Moan. I know that it isn't right, but it's the way that I've always said it, so I like the sound a bit better. And finally, I speak with a sort of valley girl drawl, which probably makes me sound kind of dumb lamau. Anyways, I decided that he was just mistaken. I mean, it is pretty stupid to assume a guy would send his girlfriend, and her friend, to spend their own money on a video game for him in the middle of the night, but what did I know? He was old. Maybe that's what he thought kids did for fun. Huh? No, dude. He got Ultra Moon. So I just wanted to match and get the other version, that's all. He handed me the stupid game and said, completely deadpan, so, basically, I was right. You're getting this for your boyfriend. I can tell. You don't seem like a gamer at all. Okay. Fine. So I am being fake /gamer/girled. I got annoyed quick. Honestly, it was more at the fact that this dude was doing this, like, for real. Also because I find the term gamer really cringy and irritating lol. I wish I could have replied with something clever and stormed off triumphantly with R2 in tow, but all I could get out was a mumbled yeah, you're right. It's for him, before leaving to pay at the front. I was more steamed than I probably should have been. It's certainly not the first time something like this has happened to me, and it's not the most overt incident, but I think it was the sheer unexpectedness. But, whatever, R2 and I shared some yummy pancakes and he didn't, so tongue. Anyway, hopefully this fits here. If not, I have a couple stories about a dude I went to high school with that are way more interesting, //.
I made a Neckbeard cry by beating him at Warhammer 40k by Madam_Pilot. This happened a few years ago but I still remember it vividly. When I was a young girl my dad ran out on me and my mom without warning, and since my mom didn't work we had to move in with her brother, Thad. I loved Thad with all of my heart, he raised me like I was his own daughter. He didn't have any kids, his wife was killed by a drunk driver while pregnant and he couldn't bring himself to date anyone after that. Thad was a big fan of Warhammer 40k, so I grew up playing it with him. Fast forward to my 17th birthday. I've been playing 40k for 12 years at this point, so I'm really, really good. To celebrate my birthday, me and Thad go to our local games store to play in one of their weekly tournaments. We arrive at the store and descend into the basement where the tournament is being held. I'm going to be frank, it smelled bad. I scanned the crowd and saw basically what I expected, scrawny white dudes with bad facial hair and acne at age 25. They were harmless. Then I saw him. He looked to be in his mid-30s, he only had hair on the sides and back of his head, which was pulled into a greasy ponytail. He had a patchy neckbeard, and he was grossly overweight. He was wearing a stained white t-shirt that didn't fit him, so he had about 2 inches of sweaty stomach and 4 inches of sweaty ass hanging out over his black jeans. He notices me and his eyes light up with a primal hunger. He worked his way out of his chair and waddled over to me and Thad. "This your girlfriend?" he grunted out, gesturing to me like I was a lamp that he wanted to buy. "She is my niece." Thad had his hand on my shoulder. "So she's here to watch you?" "No, she's here to play. More like here to win, am I right?" His eyes lit up. "She likes the game? Wow, usually females don't have that good of taste." He eyed me up and down. "She's a pretty one too. How old is she? 15? Thad was visibly uncomfortable. "No, she just turned 17 today." He opened his mouth to talk again but just then an employee of the store wheeled out a whiteboard with the tournament bracket on it. I saw that I was up against someone named Andrew. Captain Beardo turned to me and said, "Looks like we're playing each other. I'll try not to beat you too bad. Honorable, now I have to win." Thad gave my shoulder a squeeze, then whispered to me, "This guy gives you any trouble, shout." Then goes to his table to play his opponent. I sat across from Andrew and took out my army. I play Necrons. For those of you not familiar with the game, Necrons are known for putting out insane amounts of firepower, but also being generally shit at close quarters. Andrew was using Blood Angels, who are fast-moving and hard-hitting, especially in close quarters. We ended up using urban terrain, with a river and 3 bridges through the middle. There were objectives on either side of the board, as well as in the middle bridge. This should have played into Andrew's hands perfectly, the urban terrain giving him cover to move into course range and annihilate me, but I've developed a strategy for this scenario. I call it the second turn gamble. Basically, I set up an ambush. I keep my units close and in cover on my first turn. Then when he brings his elite close combat units, in this case it's a death company, in to spearhead his attack on his first turn, I counter by breaking cover on my second turn and bringing my infantry into a range where they can each fire 2 shots with their rifle, and I tear his vanguard apart. At the same time I'm pounding his armored units with heavy artillery, doomsday arcs, from behind my lines, and moving my more elite infantry around one of the side bridges to flank and expose his armored units to fire on their weaker sides. This works exceptionally well against Andrew, because he overcommitted with his vanguard and put too many units out in the open. I get lucky with my rolls and manage to nearly annihilate his army with my first strike. He tried to pull back some units and regroup, but my artillery scored a lucky hit and routed all of his basic infantry units on my third turn, and my elite infantry finished off his armor. He was pissed. He started by accusing me of cheating, then said that he took it easy on me. He was making a scene and people were looking over to see what was happening. Thad had come over and was standing behind me. He looked at Andrew and said, "Just relax, man, it's a game, sometimes you lose." I do not lose. Especially to females. She must have been cheating. Then he looked at me and I saw there were tears in his eyes and he shouted, "Cheating cunt." He was promptly banned from the store and escorted out by a staff member. Anyways, I lost in the second round to a guy playing Tau because he just brought so much fucking firepower.
The time I got a nice guy to show his true colors at a party. Freaking out, crying, then getting kicked out. Xpost from Niceguys by AndrewV. To set up the story, there are 3 main players. Me, 6'2". Pretty damn nerdy but at least talkative. Chubby, shit, look through my history and I'm sure there's a picture of me somewhere. Girl we'll call Alex, cute girl, very high on the nerdy scale. She's the one that goes to a Magic the Gathering tournament and turns heads. Guy we'll call Nice Guy, same height as me, quite skinny, fedora wearing, meme shirt and patchy beard kinda person. So a random weekend a few years ago I get a random text from Alex. She is at a birthday party, Magic the Gathering tournament, and invites me to come. Me and my friend pack up our Call of Duty session and head over there. I tell him to not expect much, but at least we can do some chatting rather than gaming. We arrive at the party and Alex comes to greet us at the door. In enters Nice Guy. He walks up doing some sort of dramatic sizing up of me from behind her. He stands between me and her and starts grilling me with passive-aggressive questions about how I know her. She gives me the sorry look and I answer and am polite. I figure this guy just has a crush. I've been in his position where I'm around a girl that I like that's obviously interested in someone else, and I'll at least show I'm a nice guy. How wrong I was. Every chance me and her had alone was followed by him coming up to underhandedly insult me, or try and impress her. Was constantly bragging about things. At one point he tried negging her, but it turned out so poorly he managed to dig himself out of that hole, which was pretty impressive. It was like a red pillar in action. She thought he was just shy and nervous around girls, but I knew he was secretly a gigantic asshole and I'd prove it. Everyone drinks and we're all having a good time around the table. He's kind of chilled out and implying they're gonna be sharing a room that night anyways, and kept asking when I was leaving. There was a lot of eye-rolling until she asked me and my friend to stay the night. He was furious and tried to bring her into a side room and explain how good a friend he was and how he doesn't deserve to feel bad cause he likes her. She ignores it and tells me and we just laugh. Bedtime. This is where it gets good. So the host and most other people go upstairs to bed. Go home. It ends up being 4 of us in the living room, me, Alex, Nice Guy, and my friend. My friend takes the main couch, and each of us takes a sleeping bag on the ground. Picture for reference. No, my friend's not 20 feet tall. I end up laying next to the empty couch, but I don't really mind, and me and Alex are talking. My friend's trying to sleep. And on the other side of Alex all I hear is him literally sighing as loud as he can about how much of a bro I am. No sarcasm, he was going on about how girls go for assholes and sighing as loud as he can. He eventually realizes that the empty couch would be a good spot for me. Hey Andrew, why don't you sleep on the couch? It's comfy. No thanks, We're having a nice conversation and I'm very comfortable here. Dude, honestly, just let me and Alex sleep on the floor. There isn't enough room. There's plenty of room on the floor. I'm not going to move, man. Chill out. After enough poking and prodding, Alex finally says she'll take the couch. He immediately regrets his decision of pointing out the couch, as the setup is now this, with me completely blocking him from her. He now literally gets up, pacing the room and grunting. You could see pure rage in his eyes. It was surreal. Alex was pretty scared of him, but this was putting it over the edge. After about 20 minutes of him pacing the room, grunting and sighing, I finally turned to him and asked, "Do you really think you're the good guy in this situation? That I'm some asshole bro who only wants this girl for sex and you are a true gentleman?" He goes silent and stares at me. Alex actually liked the guy as a friend, but he would not stop pushing for a date, so she thanked me quietly as I started getting more into it. I picked him apart for the better part of an hour. I call him out on how incredibly rude he was, that being nice to a girl doesn't mean you deserve anything. That he's not really a nice guy, he's just looking to get laid and pretending he's not some scumbag. It goes on and on. My friend said he was on the couch struggling to breathe as he was burying his head in a pillow to not laugh. At this point the host and some people come down and see this all happening. It was a long time coming, but I just grind it all down and you can see the wall is gone. He's not some shy guy that's so kawaii plaza waifu notice me. He's got anger in his eyes and he's staring at me. At one point he steps towards me and I jump to my feet, completely expecting him to start a physical fight, but he slinks away. I ended with something along the lines of, "Your friends have been here all night ignoring your shitty attitude towards a friendly stranger because all you want is to get into your friend's pants. No one wants you here. I could tell since I walked in. This isn't your first time doing this. You've betrayed all of their trust being so selfish and shallow, and if you left right now and never came back, no one will care." He starts the crocodile tears, and people start to tell me to slow down. I follow up with, "You know pretending to cry won't work as an adult, you shithead." He stops immediately, and just starts yelling about how he deserved her and I was such an ass. I moved into a different room with Alex while everyone tried talking him down. We talked it out, and listened to him screaming at his best friends until he was forced out of the house and they cut contact. He still messages her about me, years later. It's kind of amazing. And holy shit, that was a long thing to type out. TL, doctor went to party for girl, nice guy deserves girl more, me using my Letterman jacket as a net drag her to my muscle car to take her home and not treat her like an angel. Why do assholes get the girl?
More tales from the game shop. By Mr. Killam. This happened a bit before the "I'm too fat to wipe" incident. My town is a weird mix of rednecks and soldiers, with quite a bit of overlap, and redneck beards can get a bit rowdy at times. There was a group of guys who would come in every Saturday and play EDH, a format of Magic, the Gathering that is typically played with more than just 2 people. I haven't played in a while, but I think the name has since become Commander, with the rules staying mostly the same. This group occasionally would bring in body pillows and have them play in their multiplayer game. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that the body pillow thing was just ironic, and they just wanted to try out multiple deck options at once, or simply add more variety into a format that, at the time, didn't have too much interest at the shop. I was at the register computer talking to my friend Gerald, a uniformed, on-duty cop. His walking beat went past the hobby shop and he'd often stop in to chat about video games for a bit because that particular beat was fairly boring. We both heard some loud swearing, then an almighty crash coming from the card table area. Both of us ran over there to find 2 players rolling on the floor, wheezing and huffing. Adam and Ben had gotten into an argument and Ben had grabbed Adam's body pillow, a rather tasteful Asuka Langley pillow, might be a Neckbeard but Evangelion's good shit, and stomped on it. Adam, defending his waifu's honor, threw Ben to the ground and began stomping on him, asking him how he liked it. Ben grabbed his assailant's leg and pulled him down to his level, and that's when the cop and I showed up. Officer Gerald grabbed Ben, when Ben made his second mistake of the day and sent a meaty slap right into the policeman's face. This made Gerald go full-on Super Saiyan, lifting Ben up and throwing him across the room. No mean feat considering Ben's bulk, But Gerald was an artilleryman in his previous career and kept the muscle. Adam, realizing that the cop had just saved his ass, mumbled to his feet and thanked him profusely. After a few minutes of listening to each side, Ben declined to press charges against Adam and Gerald hauled him off to a waiting squad car. Following that, I decided it best to ban body pillows from the store. I'd been waiting for some incident to happen so that I could, since my boss, the owner, told me I couldn't ban anything without a good reason. Ben pleaded down from assaulting an officer to a misdemeanor assault charge and got a suspended sentence. Both of the two combative redneck beards were banned from the shop permanently.
Roommate Part 1, The Beginning by Mo Ghost. Ow. First post on Reddit, barring comments, so bear with me. My freshman year in college was my first real time moving out of my parents' home. I got to live on campus in one of the dormitories, along with 3 other freshman students, Ben, James, and John, names changed, of course. Ben and James were fairly normal, average, goofy, if not a little shy, kids taking their first steps into the real world. John? Because I was a homeschooled kid before college, I failed to see the warning signs until it was too late. The boy was barely 5 feet 5 inches and wore excessively dark clothing. Naturally, a greasy and thin beard coated his neck and chin. Little did I know, but Ben and John had already met. A few months prior, they encountered one another when John introduced himself to an entire orientation group with the now legendary statement, "Hello, my name is John. I am Japanese," while wearing a black trench coat with an accompanying trilby. He also threw a couch on a bonfire and melted Ben's polyester jacket, but the details of that story are unknown to me. Anyhow, aside from Ben's reservations, John seemed to be a good roommate. He said he'd cook, had mutual interests with everyone, and let us use his expensive speakers set. Barely a week had passed before his true colors began to show. "You want to hear about this party I had in high school?" he asked us. It was a slow day, so we agreed. The 4 of us were still in the telling stories part of a budding friendship anyway, so we were fairly interested in what he had to say. He launched into a tale of rampant alcohol, sex, and naturally cranking his fancy speakers up to their loudest volume, which shook the foundations of not only the house they were in, but every house on the entire block. "Wouldn't you have gotten a noise complaint?" I foolishly asked. "We did. The police came knocking on the door. We didn't have enough time to hide the alcohol, and I was having sex on the couch with the headmaster's daughter." "And you didn't get in trouble?" "No, when the police officers saw my speakers, they were too impressed to arrest." The stories only grew crazier. Suddenly he was claiming he had sex with every single girl in his entire high school, and is so good at it he lasts 6 hours. His nationality and ethnicity also changed on a near-weekly basis. When he moved in, I was unaware of the Japanese incident at the time. He was speaking fluent Spanish with his mother and grandfather, who had trouble with English, and would reference frequently his family in Mexico. However, this quickly changed to him being Chinese, Black, German, Korean, British, Native American, Jewish, you name it, he was it. John was the ultimate chameleon. He would say horribly racist things about groups of people, but would immediately turn it around by saying it's not racist, because I am insert race here. A frequent thing John would bring up and talk about during these formative first weeks was his mastery of Aikido. He would go to great lengths discussing how Aikido was the greatest martial art known to man. It was brutal, killed quickly and efficiently, and was a perfect counter to all other fighting styles. This raised a couple eyebrows, but no one else had any experience with Aikido, so we couldn't really press him. Until James mentioned Krav Maga. Krav Maga, being the martial art utilized by Israeli commandos, is known for being rather deadly. When asked about this, John expertly deflected such claims by stating that Aikido was specifically developed to counter Krav Maga, and that he could defeat an Israeli commando who utilized such paltry techniques with ease. This, however, was not to last. After a few weeks of hearing about his martial arts prowess, we actually Googled what Aikido was. Imagine our surprise when we discovered the hyper-lethal Aikido was a martial art based around defending yourself while not injuring your opponent. We approached John about this, surely he would be able to explain the discrepancy. Instead, the Fonz jumped the shark, the story changed. He had anticipated this revelation, and proving to us he was one step ahead of everyone else, his vast intellect was superior to our feeble minds. He explained that it was a trick. A ninja trick. You see, he needed to gauge us to see if we were worthy of his true form. He revealed to us that his true abilities and prowess was in the ancient and secretive art of ninjutsu. This leads to Roommate Part 2, the ninjutsu tournament.
Someone threw a cup of bar peanuts at me last night when I said no to a date. By drawer full of dicks. I am a bartender, and one of my customers last night ordered 3 drinks, got some nerve, and asked me out. I thought it was sweet to I politely declined and thanked him, telling him I'm in school and don't really have time to date. He didn't like that at all, got angry and slammed his fist on the bar, sending a cup of bar peanuts flying across the room. We cleaned them up, he left, wandered around outside for a bit, then came back in and tried again. I said no again. He picked up the nuts, threw them at me, threw his drink at me, and started yelling at everyone around that I'm a whore who won't go out with him because he's not hot enough for me. He got kicked out. Happy Valentine's Day to me.